Cavecast, the uncensored show for nerds of all kinds.
No, tonight is something that is very special to you and I.
Yeah.
I think it's truly what separates us, as reactors, is that we've heard a lot of people say this, in comments and on lives and different things, is that we actually pay attention to lyrics.
We try to, yeah.
I mean, for, whether or not we have the lyrics pulled up in front of us or if it's, us catching different things, especially in our, mirrored genres. Whenever, I've been really proud of you in the fact that you've been able to pick up metal lyrics and you're like, oh wait, what did they say? And
it's starting to kick in a little more. Yes, yeah. It's, to be fair, it's kind of all we listen to for the most part now.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the amount that I have that I should be a little better at it. But yes, I do agree that I am picking up some more than I used to. And it does make it a lot more enjoyable for me as well, because of me being such a lyric guy. And the fact that a lot of these guys do have something to say and I never knew.
Yeah.
So that is what really is, I guess, kind of awesome and intriguing to me.
Yeah. Because in my opinion, I don't know how somebody can listen to music and let the lyrics be secondary. Maybe on your first time listening to it in a car, or maybe, you're being shown, a music video by a friend, because that's happened many times. Maybe not so much now, with, us having to wait to react to things. But but no, I mean, it's just, that's the stuff that, that's what sets it apart from, from instrumental. Because I mean, even with that is that, I love Polyphia. I love Intervals. I love, Eric Johnson. I love Steve Vai, these, mainly guitarists, and especially Mick Gordon, I love how music can just sound on its own. And I really do believe that music is a character. But when you add lyrics to it, that is somebody that is opening their heart, and assuming that, that they're allowing you, that far into their soul or whatever, where it's just where they're like, nah, dude, this is the problem I'm having right now. Or, this is the thing I'm celebrating, or this is the tough thing that I went through, and I find so much just joy in it, because I mean, there's been times that, from when I was younger, that I would, be listening to songs, and now that I'm older, they're not just, just different sounds I was hearing. It's kind of like when you watch Aladdin as an adult, where you're like, oh my God, this movie is incredible. It's not just the sights and the colors and the sound effects. There is something deeper that's going on here. And I don't know, as we react to things and as we do everything, it just, it kind of, shocks me that not more people focus on that. There are some people that are really good at it and that, they do dissect stuff, but it's, I mean, we've talked about it before, but the head nodders and people that are just vibing, which there's nothing wrong with.
Correct. Right.
But it's just, for me, I know that when I need
a little more.
Yeah. It's when I'm diving into music, is that, there's 3 or 4 dimensions of this sound that you're missing out on, of one of those dimensions that are in there. And we talked about doing this episode a while ago, and and it was something that we've been trying to hone into, is that people are coming from Riker Road, and people love music, and it's something that we listen to music all the time, every day. And I came to Eric and I said, hey man, let's go ahead and let's choose 3 different artists, or 3 different sections of lyrics, or different things. And I know that for me, I chose 3 different things that are drastically contrasting within all 3, especially the last one that I've chosen.
Okay.
But we've been kind of teasing some things for, each other. And what I am really curious about, because I was like, hey man, you go ahead and start tonight. What is your first section of lyrics that stood out to you? And by the way, guys, these are not end all be all lyrics. These are in no particular order. There will more than likely be a part 2 down the road,
or 3 or 5 or 10.
Yeah. So if you guys enjoy this, we'll definitely dive into more stuff. Maybe you guys want some, genre specific things down the road, or some particular artist or something. But just keep that in mind as we're going through this, So there's kind of like no limit on, what we can choose and what we can do. Because you even asked me before we started where it was like, well, is it okay if it's this? And I'm like, if they are words, they are eligible.
Yeah.
So like that to me, that's all that matters, Yeah.
Okay. My first one, but I opted to go with something kind of funnier, I guess, or a little lighthearted at the end. So I guess I'm going to start with these, but the first one is, and it sounds weird when you just say them unless you're like rapping them or singing them. But as far as like, I'm not going to do that. So sorry, guys. Yeah. But the first
just
one
give
is
us the raw deal.
Yeah. It's what the funny thing is, you keep on talking to me like a stranger, but we've been together since you were a kid. And that's NF talking to Fear.
Oh, man. Okay. You went the NF route. Okay. Yeah. Hell yeah. So why did that one stick out to you?
I don't know. It's the part that I probably, it's one of the songs I listen to the most by him. And I think the older I get, there are things that hit me a little different. We've talked before about the whole death thing, and, just shit like that. But, I have this fear and PTSD with things, like with my little girl.
Yeah. It's okay, man.
Get it together. Okay.
Take your time, man.
So it's things like that. Like it kicks in because it's all the time. It's always on me. But like, I push it to the side and I'm just like, nope, you got to keep going. Like just do what you need to do. And it's one of those where like, but it's just like that line, like always resonated with me from the second I heard it. Like, I just remember, I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, this song is so deep. And like, this is, again, one of those things where he just knows how to say things that people don't know how to verbalize.
Which that's a talent of his that I still don't understand how he hones into.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, and it hits me so hard like the whole song, like it's the whole song. But if I had to break down a specific like line or lyric, it would be that one.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, you're talking to me like you don't know who the fuck I am. I've been here your whole life, your whole life. And then I think how he goes on to the fact of, you say you want to own your life. You got to wake up and take your own advice. And it's like, damn, dude, like it's just like, it's all of these things. It's like, he's trying to face his fear and, he kind of ultimately wins at the end, but he's still out in the backyard.
Yeah.
Going to be asking for his room back.
Yeah. He'll be knocking on the door, doing his thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like it always creeps in. It's like, and on record nights, it is the night that I take my little girl back. So like, it's one of those, like a piece of me just dies every time. Like, and I am afraid that I'm going to never see her again.
Right.
Just the situation that happened and things that, went on. I'm not going to get too deep into that, at least not on this, but it's that PTSD. It's that fear. It's like, and it just like, it takes me over and I almost don't know what to do sometimes. And, and it's no fault of yours, but it's like, I know, but what helps is I have to get it together because I have to sit down in front of this camera and I have to do things. I say have to like it's a chore, but like it's what motivates me to get it together, know it's going to be okay, and you'll see her in a couple of days. Yeah. It's like, but it just takes you over, man. So sorry that was long-winded. No, dude, that's well, and then I cried like a bitch.
No, dude, well, and I think that's again, it's the
might happen again. I don't know.
Well, it's mine's definitely going to happen tonight. I can tell you that for sure. But I mean, dude, like number one, I mean, that's the one thing to I find that's something that is just. It's refreshing because I mean, again, like, we've done tons of reactions to songs, whether it's Whit Lowry or if it's NF or if it's Dax or, if it's, any other artist that has evoked an emotion out of us. And NF just has that, in spades. It's just, and I think that intro 3 is such an interesting song because again, context for me is everything because what I love about that is that it's essentially you know, it's, well, how does Fear say it? Where he's like, why are you doing this? We've got a record to drop. Like, it's like, come on. Like, it's like, I thought we were making a new record. That's what drove your first two.
Yep.
Now we're in Perception, and it's the idea of like, okay, Fear is not gone, but he's able to now embrace this, you know, the music thing without fear and see what comes out of him, you know, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like I love even the way that came back in Hope as well too, where it's like that the whole My Album thing, and you know, and
then he pushed him, and then
you know, and Running and like all this stuff. Like that is such a powerful thing, and I'm really kind of mad. I actually didn't choose any NF tonight, because it's really hard for me to pinpoint one specific thing.
For sure, but that song is one of the songs that stands out to me all the time. That I kind of. It's probably the most repeat, that and Clouds, probably, I would say.
Really? You're a Clouds guy. Okay. Yeah.
But I think Intro 3, at least for the longest time, it was on all the time. It was like the number one song that I would listen to. And it just, I don't know why, why I wanted to listen to it so much, but it just, the lyrics were just really good in general. But again, the song itself just kind of did something for me as well. But like it as a whole, but like certain lyrics, man, they got me.
Well, it's I think that actually out of that song, the one that I enjoy the most, probably more from, you know, an entertainment standpoint, you know, but I think that we've all been there in our lives where he's like, you know, my therapist told me don't bury my issues, but I'm gonna be honest, man, I'm feeling great. Like it's that kind of that moment of like, you know, that taking back, or like that, you know, like it's like, nah, dude, like I'm going to, you know, I'm going to bury you. I'm just going to push this, you know, thing away or whatever. Like that's, I mean, again, and the thing is too, is that it's like, that's the tough thing about it, is that, you know, as we've seen in the rest of his discography, that, you know, fear is not gone. And you know, it's like that whole Babadook thing where it's like, no, like you can keep it at bay, you know, but
it's
now,
always there, man.
But it's like, but now it's the responsibility of you on how you deal with it, and you know, and that's a very powerful thing, you know. And I'm just
exactly, man.
I'm really impressed with that. That's a really solid one to start with, dude. I'm kind of questioning my three now. You know, so that was your first one. Holy shit! So,
yeah, again, the second one, my second one might get me again too, but I don't know. So we'll see.
So. I had a hard time choosing between whether or not I wanted to choose Slipknot or Stone Sour for my first one.
Okay.
I will say this, is that Slipknot is how I found Corey Taylor. And then, you know, ultimately with, you know, when Bother came out and I found out that he could sing like an angel and everything like that.
That was weird for me.
That was, you know, because like, it's weird because, you know, we know that there's been plenty of vocalists that we've listened to, you know, throughout, you know, the entirety of like, you know, our music past at that point, that, you know, they were able to do very diverse things. But Corey's voice just did something very different. And it was the fact that it was so ferocious, you know, and like so intense. Like he's doing this throat growl, you know, which is technically not how you're supposed to do it, you know, or like talking, or I think it was their producer for Iowa was just like, dude, he's like, I knew it was, or it was either Iowa or they're self-titled. He said that he's like, I knew it was a good take if Corey threw up.
Yeah.
Because he was just, you know, just pushing so hard and doing his thing. But I chose a lyric from the second to last song on House of Golden Bones Part 2. For anybody that doesn't know about these two albums, they are incredible. They are just, it's an interesting story about how you change the person that you've become, and, you know, the decisions that you make and the things that happen and everything like that. Like it's a very symbolic way of doing it. And in the story, Zero is the main character. He gets thrown into this world. He doesn't remember how he got there. He meets an alternate version of himself, and this character then is like a chameleon. They can become anything that they want. So they at one point like becoming his father and taunting, or his abusive, I think, stepdad or whatever, and like taunting him. And like at one point this chameleon becomes a woman and tries to entice him. And like there's also other characters that pop up in this, that there's this very old, seasoned, very wisdom filled man that is very calm. And, you know, he kind of goes on a hike with him, and he's, you know, like, well, you know, Zero, this is what this means, or like, this is the stuff that you have to remember. And essentially if you don't want to know anything about House of Golden Bones, I'll let you get out of here. But essentially what you find out is that this entire thing is happening in his mind, and all of these people that he's meeting are the people he could become. Will you become your father? Will you become wise? Will you become a maniac? Will you become, mindless? Okay. And the whole point of the House of Golden Bones is that he has to make it to this place before what's called the conflagration happens. And it's essentially when the world is set afire and there's only going to be one person left when it's all done. And in the conflagration, there are two lyrics that really stood out to me, because I believe it's from the perspective of the wise man, and I believe his name is Peckinpah. But he says, "Show me your ungrateful tyrants. I'll point out the mirror pointed at you."
Oh.
And he's like this idea of like, in the way that I perceive it. And again, this, it's up to everybody's interpretation, but it's kind of at the climax of the story where like Peckinpah is like, look, Zero, this is up to you. Like, if you can make it to this chair and sit down before, this fire engulfs everything, that's the person you're going to become. But you're going to retain this knowledge that you had while you were here, is that you're not going to change yourself as like your physical being, but you're not going to become the negative things that you've seen. Is that you're going to remember what these negative things were, and you're going to be able to become a better person because of that. And just that whole idea of just like, no, like, show me your ungrateful tyrants. I'll point out the mirror it points at you. And it's like, you're looking into this thing and you're seeing, just the possibilities of what can happen, and you're pushing these tyrants away, but it's like, no, like, you're a part of it.
Right.
And it's, hearing that come from Corey is so interesting, because it's especially too the music is part two almost kind of works like a score to a movie. There's so many layers. Like, I mean, they are song and structures. There's verses, there's choruses. Like, I mean, that's everything, but I know that I think it was Jim and Josh, their two guitarists, like they put so much work into all the composing and everything that they did on that, of like making sure that it did feel as big and as powerful as it needed to be. But yeah, just when you're using that mentality of a mirror, of just like, it's that tough thing that when the mirror is staring at you and you're seeing it, it's just, that's the rough thing where it's like, wow, like I have to accept these things about myself, and it's, the story is incredible. And it's, I don't know, it's something that, I know that I listened to the 2-part album, probably 2 or 3 times a day for like a month. I would just put my headphones on. I knew where it started. I knew where it ended, and it would be like, oh, cool. It's time for part 2. Let's get to Red City. It's like, that's the first track on, the next one. But there's really any of the other songs I could have chosen. But I don't know. The Conflagration is just, it's a very triumphant track. It's this idea of like, you can either choose to live this way or you can choose to make a change.
Yeah.
And it's really incredible. It's really wild.
That's, again, with somebody like Corey, you don't expect, like, at least me personally, like, you don't expect them to be such a lyrical individual when it comes to their art or their, craft, whatever. But
yeah,
I think it's one of the only songs I really know by Stone Sour is the song Bother.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where I was like, there's no way that this is the same guy, but then let alone the lyrics behind it. And I'm like, no, there's no way that and I basically in a sense thought, why doesn't he do this in Slipknot? He does.
Yeah.
He does. I just didn't listen to it.
Yeah, the only thing you were kind of exposed to was just like listening to Surfacing or like, the really heavy, intense, guttural shit. Yeah.
So I had no reference point to like understand that. And it's the fact of, and because I did all the time. I'm like, why can't this motherfucker then like he would be so much bigger? Well, duh, dude. Right. Like, so I just didn't know. But Corey is not somebody you think is going to be like that. And it's actually really cool that he is.
Right. Well, it's honestly too, is that it's something that I would suggest anybody to do. And I mean, I guess it's a free plug for him, but he's written a couple of books and it's been interesting how he dives into certain topics and even the language he uses. because, you know, he is a very profane person. But the thing is that I find that when he uses it in his writing, whether or not it's in a book on a page or if it's on a track on an album, that he tends to have a lot of texture to what he's saying, where it's like, it's not just brutal because it's brutal. If it has to be, it will be, you know. Right. And it's like, there's also like that, because even like volume 3, like I believe that they even got done with it and they were like, oh, like, you know, he didn't curse on this album at all. You know, or like it was very like seldom and stuff. And he even said, he's like, I just went in and wrote an album. He's like, you know, we can listen to Iowa and, you know, our self-titled album. It's like that thing it had a parental advisory sticker, you know, and he's like, but this one didn't, you know. So it's like he focuses on, you know, what needs to be said in that moment or what's on his mind, you know. So it's just, it's really wild. But
that's cool. Like it is one of those things where it goes to with me like it does with movies. There are just certain things that if you remove the profanity, it doesn't make the point or like whatever that they're trying to get across here. So the fact that NF has done that the complete opposite and made such a big, I guess, impact, and, you know, the lyrics and the hardness and things, like he does say adult things. It's just not profanity.
Right.
And I think that's what's kind of cool about it, that you can find that. But at the same time, no, Corey's right. Like when it needs to be used, it needs to be used. It would have thrown me off, though, being like, well, where's the unedited version? Because that would be like saying Eminem said, well, I made an album and just didn't really swear. And be like, no, seriously, where's the unedited version?
Yeah, right. It's like, you didn't say crap. You know?
Right. It's just one of those where it's like, that is interesting that he just went in and did that.
Yeah.
It's like, so he's not one that is there for shock and awe for no reason. Like you were saying earlier, we're like, that makes me respect him even more then. Like that, honestly, like that shows his capability, but still having that same sound behind him, where if you weren't really probably paying attention, you wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I really enjoy knowing that now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's especially too, it's I definitely want to expose you to some Stone Sour and, like, you know, selfishly want to show you some stuff, but we'll see how that, you know, goes as far as if it's, you know, whether if it's personal or if it's on the internet or whatever. But nevertheless, though, you've got your second one, and we started with NF, and I'm really curious as to the direction that you're going with your second one, because I have a suspicion, but I don't know if we're there yet. So, what is your second choice for lyrics tonight?
So I'm going to say I'm going to, again, end with the like funnier one or whatever. But so I have thought a lot about how lyrics are for me, and I'm not going to go too much into it, but we kind of talked earlier about the fact of, you know, I listen to a lot of rap. It's what I grew up with. And as far as like, other than like a hard verse or something, that rap isn't really where it touches you like that, like where it kind of resonates or like makes you feel a certain way. So the fact that I have found something I think has really, I guess, changed how even music works for me even now. Like it already did. But so I had a hard time picking, but it's still kind of going with the same theme here. I guess there's a theme, but it's a little depressing, I would think, but sorry, but it's Vessel.
Oh, Sleep Token. Yep. Okay. Yeah. I was wondering when this was going to show up. Yeah.
And it's where he says, the perfect start to a perfect war, putting down the roses, picking up the sword. I personally took that in the fact of, you know, with the way that this lore or this actual person that he might be singing about or, you know, talking to or whatever it is, or giving you his side of things. That to me almost kind of goes back to the somewhat part of my PTSD and fear, but it's the fact of what I had to do. You know, you think, be careful how I say this. Like, you think you know somebody, right? And it's the fact of like, I'm putting down, like, I now have to pick up heavy artillery here, and I'm coming at you.
Right.
I'm not coming at you with these gentle things anymore, or sugarcoating, or whatever it might be. Like, it's fucking war now. The perfect start to a perfect war. Like, you did this. Don't forget that.
Right.
You gave me no choice. Got to put the fucking roses down. My sword's bigger than yours. No pun intended. Like,
yeah.
Wow, I really thought I was going to get a different emotional on that one, and I did not. So sorry if I was loud on that.
No, you're good. No, we got Sures. You're good. So yeah.
But it's Vessel does something. And with his music, it is one of those where almost all of his lyrics have a top tier spot for me.
Yeah. Because that was Aqua Regia, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Because I was thinking about it. I was like singing it in my head. So yeah.
There's just something that happens, man. I don't think I've ever had this happen on any artist, any song in general, maybe, but like as a whole, like just touch my very soul and like just what I need and things that I never thought I needed to hear. Like like I have to be careful what I listen to, or even I guess, like with Chandler being in the car, like there are just some songs I can't listen to with her because I get upset.
Yeah.
And I don't want her seeing that.
Yeah, no.
You know, but it's just the fact of like, you can't explain to a 4-year-old that like music is just touching you in a certain way that you just, it takes me over.
Yeah.
Like I've never had anything like that with like a specific, like Eminem's my favorite rapper. I've never felt like that listening to him.
Yeah.
Where like I like need it. I guess that's that whole like worship thing where it's like your body like craves it because it like almost knows how to grieve with it, or be happy with it, or, you know, be angry or whatever it might be. And it's just like, I don't know. That one was a big one. There's quite a few other ones, but that was probably the one that I rewound the most. Not only that song, but probably through a lot of them for a while until I got through other ones, and then just had a whole group of things I went through like that. But yeah, it's the fact of it was hard to pick, but it wasn't hard to pick because everything that comes out of that motherfucker's mouth is gold. like without fail.
Yeah. It's even going through Sundowning and like, you know, going through that too. Like I will say that Sundowning is not my favorite album by them. I mean, now that, because we've technically finished it and we've got the bonus tracks that we're still doing, but it does make me wonder what's going to happen with Tomb. But man, it's so hard to beat Take Me Back to Eden, dude. Like it is. It's like, it's from the music. It's from the feeling of the music. It's the articulation of his words, everything. And I think it's interesting too, that, you know, like when you have a statement like that, because, you know, like, you know, people speak in symbolism in music. Sometimes it's the best way to leave it open-ended and to allow you to, you know, to make your listeners stop and think, you know, because it's kind of like that Doom Eternal thing where it's like when you're thinking, you're engaged. Right. You know, and it's right. And I've got no problem with, you know, junk food, you know, or like, you know, listening to music like that. You know, to me, it's like, you know, listening to, you know, I don't know, like something like, I don't want to pinpoint it, but, you know, listening to maybe more like, you know, punk rock or things like that, where it's like, you know, kind of like the Sum 41 kind of aspect of it, you know, but seldom the times that, like, you know, they're getting heavy or like, you know, emotionally or things like that. It's usually grab your skateboard, go on the half pipe and do your thing. Right. You know, and I've had some bands that have surprised me, but Sleep Token is just, they really are just their own thing. And it's like, to me, it's like, I find myself, you know, like, I mean, we reference Vessel a lot whenever we're talking about things, but it's like, it's because you're even talking about Aunt Chrissy, where she was like, what are they? And it's like, well, why are you asking me that question? It's like asking me what Death Stranding is about. I can't answer. I cannot answer that in one sentence. It's like I
gave her like almost every genre of music I could think of other than country.
Yeah, it's like what other band goes from being like from metalcore to blues? Like
or even like I even told her like even like slightly like boy bandish, and like this R&B rap and like alternative all mixed together. And it's like, and I have to tell people, Lola was one of them when she said she'd never really listened other than like one song. And I was like, dude, for the most part, you have to listen. Like if something doesn't catch you at the beginning, you have to listen to an entire song.
There's so much more.
Right. Just so because you started here, even with his cadence or even like how his lyrics go, it's probably gonna change.
Yeah.
I say probably because it's not always, guys. If you don't listen to Sleep Token, and then you live under a rock, number one. Number two, you have to, guys. Like that is like almost like the rule. Right. It's like the rule. He's made it to where you have to listen to the whole song and a whole fucking album.
Yeah.
Like without fail. So just go, you know what? Click off now. Yeah. Give it a like. Yes. Subscribe. Then come back and you'll understand.
Yeah, we'll still be here.
We have no idea. See, you're back.
Yeah. Right. See, thank you. Thank you for coming back. We appreciate it. No, I think that, especially with Aqua Regia, because that's a song that like when it comes on, I find myself like, it's almost kind of like I'm just at this point of like, I'm comfortable. The world around me is doing what it's doing. Aqua Regia's on, and it's because it's just, it is from the visualizers to the way that they behave and the things that change, the fact that it's like that, golden liquid, that's, being formed into this, multi-armed, being. And then, and then it comes back and now it has a cloak and it has like the chimes on it and all that. Like there's so much mystery into this band of like, what does all of this mean? Because the way that I've talked about them is that they're essentially like Ludens, like, from Death Stranding, where it's like, there's these like, figures or these, statues or whatever you want to call them. Like, and I think that that's the thing that makes it really fun because, again, like I do want to know as much as possible, but I love being in the unknown, where it's like, it's this spectacle that I'm taking in that is just so interesting and different. Yeah. And it's so to me, I'm hoping that we do get some more Sleep Token just to kind of see what Vessel's cooking up right now and like what his mindset is, because I can guarantee you that whether or not it's Sleep Token or if he does something else down the road, that man's always going to make music. Like I can guarantee you that, if he's, whether he's on tour or whatever, he's in his tour bus at his MIDI board or with his guitar and just thinking of what he wants to do. And that's something that gets me so excited,
I heard somebody say, and I'm going to butcher this, so I apologize if you're watching, but it was something along the lines of the albums, because I know that they are considered a trilogy from what I've been understanding that this is, but that Sundowning was losing her. I think they said it's like losing her. Tomb is grieving, and Take Me Back to Eden is almost like him moving on,
like accepting,
Yeah. Like sorry, man, if you're in here, but like it would, how they said, I was like, oh, like I know that we haven't listened to Tomb yet, but it kind of makes sense, like what I've heard and then what I've heard over here and then what the middle might be. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, like this is interesting, because then it makes me think, well, then now what? Because the one supposed interview, they're like, even if they weren't even really talking to Vessel, because it was like through email or text message or something, but when they asked him about, the future or something like that of Sleep Token, and he said something along the lines of all good things must come to an end or something like that. Yeah. Basically saying like, this will be done at some point, and like kind of soon. He kind of made it seem like so. People were wondering if this was going to be just a trilogy album and then he was done.
Right. And it's
so I don't know.
I mean, it kind of harkens back to that, that whole idea that, no, endings are hard. You know, it's like,
correct,
because it's kind of a supernatural thing from the show, but there's a character that is essentially writing out the story of what's happening to Sam and Dean. And it was when they were supposed to end everything in season 5. And it's from his perspective. And he's like, you know, endings are hard. He's like, there's always going to be people that are going to bitch, you know, like that you didn't tie up all your loose ends. There's characters you've forgotten about, or like, you know, but like what has remained is what's important, you know? And I think that if there is ever a time that, you know, like if we know for a fact that Eden is the last thing that we're ever going to get from them, I mean,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's like we get to look back and like it's kind of like the MCU where it's like, man, like they had a really good run. You know, it's like this, like they did a great job with what they were given, and you know, and like the ability, and it's, you know, because there's just a true fan base and an audience that just loves this band and has held them so close to their hearts, and has just been like, no, like we cherish this. Like when Sleep Token's on, you listen. You do. And I think that it's
one of my daughter's favorite bands. Like, and she's 4. Like she likes, obviously she doesn't understand the lyrics yet. Like we were kind of talking earlier, where like when you grow up and you understand what these sounds actually are or whatever, but she likes the sounds. There's almost all of them that I play with her. She'll be like, can we listen to that one again? And then now she's asking what Sleep Token song this is. I think she's understanding that Sleep Token isn't just a song. That's who this is. And then all of these other sounds and songs come out of that name. Yeah. And it's kind of cool to like watch her like develop that and understand that. Same with 21 Pilots. Like she's understanding like, oh, this is all the same thing. Yeah. It's really cool, but no, she digs it, man. And I think, you know, what a band to like get her to get into, you know. Yes, I'm still going to give her my hip hop and rap roots, but like, and I do throw that on, but those other things, you know, that we listen to, that is a big part of her life now. That wasn't a part of my life until the show and opened me up to things. Yeah. It's almost one of those, I'm trying to give her like all of these doors to like go through or pick one or two or whatever it is, instead of just being blinded so much by one thing like I was. Yeah. You know, I stuck with what I liked, but it's because I was too afraid. Funny to like go to
full circle. Yeah. It all comes back
to like branch out. But so interesting.
Well,
what's yours? What's your second?
My second one, I had a big Goo Goo Dolls kick. And I got to say that John Resnick, for me personally, this is not, you know, for everybody to agree with, but when it comes to lyrics, John Resnick is actually one of my favorite lyricists, just of like how he...
I always remember you saying that, yeah.
So for instance, one of the lyrics that kind of woke me up, it's not the one I chose for tonight, but to me, it's one of their most 90s songs that they've made, is a song called Ain't That Unusual. And it's just a very catchy guitar riff. I remember being a, you know, 16-year-old guitarist with my electric for the first time, trying to play this thing, and I couldn't do it. And now I look back and I'm like, whatever, you know. But like, but it was just even the fact that it's like, you know, he at the time, and I don't know if they had their lead guitarist, you know, with them, or if it was just the 3 of them, but to play these parts and then sing them, you know, they're in different, you know, different patterns and, you know, different rhythms and everything, but. In that song, it really woke me up when the lyric I believe he says is, he's like, I think I'll put my heavy coat on for a while. It's freezing here in the corner of my mind. And when I heard that, like it stuck out to me, and it made me pay more attention to what he was saying, you know, because everybody knows their hits like Slide and Name and, you know, Iris and, you know,
sure.
You know, maybe you could even say like Big Machine, or like, you know, some of these other songs that, you know, have just done a really good job of, you know, capturing, you know, the listeners. But there was a song that he wrote for Treasure Planet. And now, to be completely transparent, I've actually not watched Treasure Planet. I know it's a fantastic Disney movie, and it's like kind of like futuristic pirates in a way, where it's like, you know, these, you know, hoverboard, you know, big ships or whatever. And like, you know,
really?
The captain has like a robotic eye and stuff, and like it's I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt played the main character. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay,
but he wrote a song called "I'm Still Here," and I remember I had my guitar and I was trying to learn their funky tunings, because like he doesn't use standard tuning for the most part. He uses like a very big open kind of like, you know, beautiful melodic, like open E, or like Iris is in the lowest string is a B and the rest of the strings are all D's. Like his tunings are just completely out there. And I found this song, I listened to it a lot, and I'm sitting there with my guitar, and I remember thinking I want to be able to play this and sing this live when I was, you know, doing acoustic things. Yeah. And there's this lyric that it's like the whole NF thing where I'm like, I don't understand how somebody's mind works like this. Cause this is kind of like a triumphant, and I guess in the most aggressive way you could say, a triumphant, like, fuck you in a way. And the lyrics are this, he says, and how can the world want me to change? They're the ones that stay the same.
So wait, real quick, was that your answer, or was the first one about the corner of your mind?
No, that was the one that led me into.
Okay, my bad.
So, how can the world want me to change? They're the ones that stay the same.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. Like I've had many times in my life that, you know, whether or not it's growing up or if it's as an adult or, you know, like through everything, that, you know, I can't stay the same. Like it's like, you know, like the way that I think about things or whatever. Like it's kind of like the whole Sheldon thing where it's like, well, Sheldon, like you've changed drastically since I've met you, you know, in the time that you've experienced things and things like that. And like, there's this adversity, you know, of, you know, people like, you know, whether or not it's people of an audience or, you know, like whatever, where there's just like, well, no, don't change. Like, you know, like stay this way. And it's like, well, hold on now. Like, it's like, you know, this is what it takes to be a human being. Like, you know, it's, you know, rolling with the punches, or it's, you know, like doing all those things. Like that one just really stuck out to me. It's a very simple lyric. Of just, you know, it's like, well, no, it's how can they expect me to stay the same? It's like, or like, how can they expect me not to change, or like whatever, like, or expect me to change? Like, it's just, there's something really interesting about that. And he ends it with, and each time in the chorus, the lyric changes after that. He's like, cause I'm not here. And it's like, you know, but eventually he's like, no, I'm still here. And he's just like, no, he's like, I'm, you know, no matter what's going on, I'm still here. And I'm still going to be the person that I am, and I'm still going to embrace this and do the best that I can. And it's just
as you should.
Yeah. And it's I don't know, that was something that just it's very special to me. It's something that, you know, since I was a teenager, I've gravitated towards this song, and I've, you know, and it's just been, you know, from singing it alone in my room and trying to nail the pitches and doing everything that I'm doing. And then, you know, being in front of an audience, you know, whether or not they've got a drink in their hand or not, like it's, you know, it's something that, you know, tends to engage people. And there's even been times after I've been done performing it that somebody was like, dude, I have never heard anybody do that song from Treasure Planet, dude. Like, that's like, dude, like, bravo. Like you knew about that, you know, which is, I feel like a frog because I've never seen the movie, you know, but it's right. The music was the thing that I was gravitating towards, you know?
Sure.
So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. But no, like that is, I guess, as far as like at a lyrical standpoint, you said something earlier about like, yeah, you know, it's a simple lyric, but like, I don't think simplicity should determine what a good lyric is, or maybe even what resonates with you. Like, just because something sounded simple, well, it's effective.
Yeah.
And it affected you. It probably affected hundreds of thousands of other people the same. That specific line, that one that you said, you know what I mean? Like that's the beauty about music. And I think the art behind it is, you know, anybody can find something, even if they're not into lyrics, you know, and it's just the sound.
Yeah.
But I think that that's why music does what it does for me, is that it can be simple, but it still does something to you because of, you know, maybe where you're at or your views or things like that. Like there's something for everybody. And I think that that's just, that proves it right there. Like, and the fact of, you know, your lyrics and like, even like what it was in, like, okay, yeah, it was in this movie. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It still did that. I think that's cool too.
Well, it's kind of like the whole, what was it? Who told Phil Collins that he could go that hard when he wrote the soundtrack for Tarzan? Where it's, you know, so like, you know, because I mean, that's, you know, it's somebody that understood the assignment and knew it, you know, and it's especially too, like with Iris, like I think somebody even said it where they were like the lyric of, And I don't want the world to see me because, I don't think that they'll understand. And I just like then it leads into I just want you to know who I am.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like that is the most 90s incarnate thing that you could like. He's got that raspy voice, and it's just like
Nicolas Cage.
So, but right. He plays an angel, and and again, that's a movie that I have not seen. I know it's fantastic, but
I've seen it like once.
Yeah. So, which again, I found myself like I'm more familiar with the movie from the music video for Iris. Because like when he's like when he's pushing himself through the clock tower and he's like looking through all the telescopes and stuff like that.
See, and that's what I'm saying. Like I know because of that mostly too, but I have seen it like once or twice because of Mom, and then Meet Joe Black. Oh. And I'm like, but then, like now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, that's what this movie's about. And I'm like, because I'm not 12,
right?
You know, like I couldn't give a shit less back then. I'm like, this movie's dumb.
Yeah, you had no idea what like the gold that you were being given at the time.
Right.
Yeah, but no, it's John Resnick is. I could honestly talk John Resnick lyrics all night. Just from any of their albums, it's he just he has a. In my opinion, a brilliant innocence about the things that he says and the things that he chooses to write about, but there's like, again, like there's like a spectrum to it as well too. So, but nevertheless, for your final lyric, you said that you have a kind of a funny one for your final one.
I do.
Cause I'm trying to rack my brain on what it would be. As far as like if you're going to choose more of a comedic thing. So yeah.
So do you remember? So I had a little bit of a hard time. Like I said, I didn't want all my stuff to be like, like I guess depressing or whatever. But so I started thinking, I'm like, I always remembered this like hitting me funny and like it was good. So guys, this is a lyric that stops and then this person like, I guess kind of like breaks the fourth wall, if you will, essentially, and starts talking to you for a brief moment. And do you remember when I used to listen to Watsky?
Oh my God. Okay. That is not a name. Oh, sorry. That's a name that I've not heard in a long time. So yeah.
He was like remixing this song from it's Jay-Z and Kanye West. We'll just call it Paris.
Okay.
There's another name that goes in front of it, but
okay. Yeah.
But on the radio it was just called Paris. But that's what he did, and a part of the lyrics at the very end says, "What's 50 grand to a motherfucker like me? Can you please remind me?" He says that part. He stops because it's the end of the song, and Watsky just looks at the camera and goes, "A lot. That's a life-changing amount of money for normal people." Right. And then it stops.
Yeah.
I was like, facts, dude. Like, yes, like a lot. That's a life-changing amount of money for normal people.
Yeah.
So that was my last one, but it just because it catches you off guard. And that's what he does. Like Watsky was great at that. Not only was he super fast and super clean to hear, he also did have really good lyrical content, but he was also really funny.
Yeah.
So you had this like mixture of things for me that he kind of threw at me and I was really into. Like he's taken quite a big break and I know he kind of came back with some things and I've heard very little. I wasn't necessarily into it, but to each their own. Like I'm glad he's still making music because he's really good at it.
Yeah.
And the fact that he can make you laugh. I know that didn't like rhyme per se, but it was was at the end because it's just like, he's just like looking at you like, who the fuck says that?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it just struck me as always funny, man.
Well, I think it's also like, the perspective that you can have, especially because again, like, when's the last time that you had $50,000 that was, just dropped into your bank account, right. And it's because it's, just because I know that like with the times that, I've had, any like big sum of money show up or something, whether it's a tax return or if it's like birthday money when I was younger or something like, it was a very small portion of my life where it's like, oh, this is fun money and this is going to go here, or whatever. Like now it's this needs done. Okay. Like I'm going to go take care of that. Like, or like, I'm going to make sure that, my, like whatever household thing needs done or something like, that
my
like,
birthdays used to be awesome. Then I have to pay $80 fucking to get my tags and everything done, and sometimes my driver's license.
Yeah, it's
happy birthday. Give me your fucking money.
This is the thing, is that if you are younger, you will understand this, is that when you get older, you just pay more money. That's just how it happens.
Right.
So yeah, just no matter what you're doing, so. But no, it's just, I don't know, like that's really funny, because especially too, like I love it when especially rappers, whenever they kind of have this freedom to be able to break the fourth wall, or to be able to do things like that. Because like I was actually kind of in the mentality, I thought maybe Damien would be something that you would choose, or something like that. But in the same hand is that,
sure,
it's like with that, like that is that's like full on Deadpool. Where it's just, it's like kind of like, you paying attention, it's like, you're like, don't get like, this isn't me flexing or whatever in this moment. This is like, you thought it was one thing. Now it's I flipped it on you, and now this is really what's happening.
Because at that point, I want to say he was kind of established already and probably making really good money. It's the fact that he knew the real reality of that, like that's what made it great. But the fact of, like you said, Damien and stuff, like, there will definitely have to be another video of us talking about our, kind of favorite lyrics, or ones that we do kind of gravitate towards. But it's the fact of, again, I know I did 2 rappers tonight when I said that, like, it kind of doesn't do that for me. But that last one was, like I said, it wasn't really a bar, but right. But still,
hey, I mean, no, it's like I said,
it was 2 rappers.
If it's words, it's eligible, you know. So,
so yeah, what's your last one? So I want to preface this with what I chose is actually a worship song. Like church,
like an actual church worship song. Now, full disclaimer, this is elevation worship. I have my personal feelings, and I'm not going to get into them here, but of their church and the leadership and things like that, I'm, I have very specific things that I feel about it. But what I look at is, when you have worship music, is that, where is it coming from? Is it biblical? And is this something that, is truly putting you in an attitude of worshiping your creator, God the Father?
Right.
And
right.
This is actually just as a song itself. It's called I Will Look Up. And I remember finding this song. I can't remember how long ago it was, but I was still active in ministry. I was playing on stage, and like I was the lead guitarist. So it's like I was doing very different things than what everybody else was doing, because everybody had a role to play, where it was like, okay, don't just play this G chord and strum it. No, play this upper extension of this G chord and pluck these notes and do these things. Like I learned a lot about how to have a presence without being obnoxious. And knowing that, every element is important. And the most important thing that you have in worship are the lyrics, because you are proclaiming and you're speaking things into action. And this one gets to me a lot. And it's a very, very good thing. The prerequisite to this, and it's the chorus of this, is that the whole idea of I will look up is that I will look up and, just, proclaiming of kind of like getting out of your bubble and looking away from everything that's going on and seeing, the good things that have happened. So it's like, I will look up because there is none above you. And it's like, that whole idea of, physically looking up and, also I would say internally, but the way that they lead into the ending of the chorus is these lyrics. It says, I will look back and see that you are faithful. I look ahead, believing you are able.
Okay. Yes.
Anybody that's known me, anyone that has watched the channel, or has had any kind of experience with me, knows that faith was and is a big part of my life. And it's something that I struggle with a lot. I don't have an entire story that I want to write, about, having that battle and, what that really means for nothing. Like, this is a very deep, very real thing for me. And it's not even just in, being an adult and experiencing everything that I've experienced from now until like, I was, 18. It's not just, in the time when I was a kid, it's everything. I've had a lot of moments that have really rocked me when I have been so angry, or I have felt lost, or I have felt, I felt stuck, or I felt like, all these different things. And I can say this with confidence, is that I know that with what I have experienced in my life, that there is something that is working that is not of my own doing. And especially with the journey that you and I have been on, doing YouTube and how everything has happened, the impact that we don't understand that we have on people, or, because like from the, personal messages of, talking about like, look, dude, like, I lost this family member, and like your video is making me feel better because it makes me feel like my brother's still here, or like, I don't really have anyone in my life, so this is where I, go to, or this is the thing I'm struggling with, and you make my day better. And, it's that, that whole mentality. I think it was the Whit Lowry thing where he's like, no, dude, I'm sober because of you. You do more than you know.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know, like, it's to be very upfront, just with our audience, is that we are in a very strange time of YouTube right now, and all creators are in a very tough place, especially reactors, and, especially doing something like a podcast and trying to get that off the ground and to do everything that we're trying to do. And I don't know, man, like it's something that is, I find myself not able to believe it some days, just because I'm so caught in myself. But if you look back and you can see the evidence, there is true physical evidence of something working. And to have that declaration of like, no, like, I believe you are able. I look ahead, no matter what is going on in my life, no matter what it is. It may not be exactly the way that I want it. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to do all these things, like all that. But it's just like, no, like I'm going to look ahead, and I believe that you are able. And that's something that I've been trying to meditate on, and really trying to get that spark back of just like, no, like, it's like, faith is tough. It's, it's you're believing in something you cannot see.
Right.
I've even had moments of that it's like, man, like I've been in some incredible churches and some incredible nights of worshiping. And I believe that I was actually watching something with Mom the one time, and she looked at me and she's like, don't you feel bad for people that don't know what this is like?
Huh.
And it's like, there's times that it's like, I feel like, man, like I've literally been given the best gift that I can ever receive, which is salvation. And this is where my mentality is at. This is how hardened my heart is. This is how, like, everything. And it just all comes back to that, where it's just like, nah, dude, like, it's like, I took care of you. I did what I said, what I was going to do. And I've seen it, dude, like living with you and seeing how things have happened in your life. And I won't disclose every detail here, but it's just, we've talked very, very closely and intimately on the hardships that we're going through, especially in the past, like, year and a half, 2 years of the stuff that you've been struggling with, and the things that have happened. And I'm just, dude, like I'm blown away by your heart. I'm blown away by just the dedication that you have of the
me.
Yes, 100%. I'm just the way that you talk about how you pray. And the way that like, and like just how you're like, look, man, like when I'm, you know, I like, it's like, we've all had that hard thing of like, whenever we're like, you know, we're praying for things where it's like, well, I want this, you know, and I don't want to, you know, it's like, I don't want to be greedy, or I don't want to, you know, be self-seeking, you know, but it's like, this is the stuff that, you know, I like, Lord, like, please just look into my life and know where I'm coming from. And it's just, man, like I've been surrounded by just, you know, just that presence, and by that, and there's a part of me that looks at it where it's like, I cannot get away from it. You know, in the most, you know, wonderful way. And it's, you know, some days it is a knife, and some days it is a hug, and some days like it's, you know, but that's not because it's a negative thing coming at me. It's the way that I'm dealing with it. It's the way that I'm struggling with it. So, no, that was just, dude. It's all that being said. I hope all that came together, but
no, it did. Yeah, that's what I was like. But yeah, for a minute I was like, "You talking about me?"
100%, and that's I have no there's no two ways about it. Like it's just there's been a lot of experience that I've had, and you know, being able to see how my faith has worked, and you know how everything has happened, and you know the people in my life that I've been truly blessed with, you know, whether it's friends or family, you know, like it's just, dude, like I'm blown away by it. And that's something that I'm really trying to be better at is, you know, it's not like, oh, I'm going to change these 30 things, you know, to be a better person. Sure. It's the fact of like, no, like, you know, I'm going to do everything I can to be sure that it's like, no, like I'm not squandering my faith. I'm not putting that flame out, you know, because it's the reason why we're in this room to this day. Like we didn't start in the basement with one Rodecaster in a shitty basement for nothing. And, you know, and it's just
started from the bottom.
Now we're here. So, but anyway, so yeah, I hope, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but
no, I mean, other than just the fact of you saying the fact of like, you know, I guess the way I pray, it's, you know, that was something that, you know, I was trying to be careful with, and, you know, not for nothing, a lot of the things I do pray for are, you know, the I guess you could say in a sense, the success of my reaction channel, because it is my only income. And I don't mean success in a in a egotistical way, but it's my only income, and it's kind of bleeding money right now. And it's just the fact of, it's like, I'm not asking to like make me a millionaire. Right. Can you just give me some buffer here? And it's not like, you know, it's hard to explain without like giving you guys real numbers, but it's just the fact of like, I know what I've like kind of asked for. And it's the fact of like, and I've even said like, I'm not trying to be greedy. Like, and I've even been like, is that greedy? Like, I don't mean just give me this, but like, help me, show me the way to do things, or show me, you know, the answer, and maybe, you know, whatever it might be, in the fact of like, I'll make the decision, or I'll like lead me this way, or take me this way, or whatever it might be. Like, I don't need you to do it. I'm not asking you to just,
I'll do the work.
Yeah. Like, exactly. That's the way of like, I'll do the work. Like, I don't expect you to just drop a pile of money in front of me, or make my channel successful because I just do nothing anymore. Right. Like, I know I have to put in the work. That's why we make 7 videos a week. But it's just the way I do pray is very different than the way I used to pray. Now, me and God had a little teeny spat on the way home today, but it was not the same as it always was. And it was over something quite big. Like, my Jeep's making a noise, and like, I got to get it fixed. And it's just one of those like, can you just get me through the fucking holidays, please, man? Like,
because it's that stuff.
What are you doing?
It never happens whenever it's convenient. Ever. Yeah, never.
And it's just so it's the fact of, but I still have those days. But the fact of, like you said, like, I have seen real signs myself, you know, whether it be the situation with people I was with, and I've asked, please give me a sign and show me what to do. Oh, it was real clear. Yeah. Sometimes they are right there. Yeah. And I went, okay. And that started my journey a little bit on how I guess maybe go about my prayer and things. But like, you know, like your lyrics were saying, and the fact of how far you've come, what you can continue to do. It's just like, No, man, like it can happen. It's just, it is up to you.
Yeah.
It is up to you. Like, are you gonna just fall over and stay down? Or are you gonna get the fuck up?
Yeah.
You're gonna, you might be dirty. You might be a little runny nosed and cried, but whatever, like get up and fucking move forward.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying be heartless and not show emotion. It's just the fact of you have to.
Yeah.
So powerful lyrics, man.
Yeah.
Powerful lyrics. And a little tangent on like, I guess how I pray, but
no, it's wonderful, man. And it's you and I have had the absolute pleasure of being able to do life together and, being able to be in the same house and, it's like, cause it's one of the things that never stops is the interaction that you and I have. And I don't know, there's no better person to judge that besides the person that, is around you. And that's just, it's the truth, man. Like that's what I see. And, I think to wrap up tonight, because I did take questions, but I think
we'll have to wait.
Yeah, we're going to save them for the next episode. So if you guys did ask a question on it, about this episode, don't worry, we're going to save that because you guys had some really good questions, and I think that actually could give us some good topics and stuff to talk about later. Which, as always, if there's something you would like us to talk about, please let us know in the comments. But no matter what's going on in your life right now, no matter like whatever real struggles you have, I'm not here to preach to you. I'm not here to say anything like that. And I'm not going to do anything like that. The only thing I will tell you is exactly what you were saying was get up. If you're knocked down, get up. It doesn't matter what it is. It's like, it's that whole John Cena thing where he's like, if I get hit in the face with a chair, I'm getting back up.
Right.
If somebody throws me off of a ladder, I will get up.
Yep.
And it's like, I will not quit. And that's coming from a person that is struggling with that right now of, being a content creator and trying to figure out, how to do things and what's the right thing to do.
I'm gonna get hit in the face with a chair for the last 6 months, dude.
Yeah, right. So it just, it's honestly, it's to me, that's no matter what's going on in your life, I want to encourage you guys because that's the one thing that Eric and I are very passionate about is just being very real with you guys and letting you know where we're at. And, that's, what people post on social media and everything. Like, it's like they want you to see the good things. We all deal with very, very real things. And, we both deal with very real things every single day. And you're not alone in this battle. Right. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and tie this up into a bow and end it here. So, Eric, is there anything that you would like to say to the audience before we officially sign off until next week?
Go listen to Sleep Token and subscribe to Riker Road and to this channel.
New content every day on Riker Road and
every day. No matter if the algorithm tells you or not. 9 a.m. EDT. Yeah, there we go.
Or EST now that the time changes happen.
Whatever.
So, whatever. And and new videos are going to be coming back every Friday on the Cavecast and clips as well too, and everything like that. So there's going to be plenty of content for you guys to check out. So we appreciate your time. If you've been here since the beginning to the end, let us know. Drop a comment. Let us know that you listened to the whole thing, and tell us what you liked, tell us what you didn't like, and give us some ideas of what you'd like to hear us talk about in the future. And we will talk to you guys very soon. Adios.